Oh, action. All right, we are making a video on how to put a ceiling grid inside of a space. And it's very simple. First, we find the floor plan in the lighting plan. Then we switch to a layer called it's called ceiling grid, CLG grid. Okay, so we'll switch to that layer, and then we do a polyline on the inside. This is a little different than the HVAC, so this is on the inside of the walls. If the room is rectangular, we can just do a rectangle. But we got to pick the inside of the room. Okay, so that's the inside wall of the room. Uh, if the room isn't rectangular, but all these are, then you would just do a polyline and follow the wall along the room. Make sure you stay on the inside. And something funky is happening here because this wall seems to be thicker than this wall. No biggie. This sometimes the architects are so sloppy that it's just all kinds of crappy lines. You see, there's that line there. I have no idea what it means, and this one's one line type, and that's another line type. But anyways, let's pretend for a second that this rectangular room that is actually well defined. So you just do a polyline right there. If the room has a knot shape, you just follow with a polyline. Same thing. But you got to stay on the inside of the wall regardless. So here and here, that we don't account for the wall anymore like we did on the HVAC. Okay, that's step one. Then we got to create a hatch, square hatch, that is 2 by 2. How do you do that? So you have your line there. Then you go to hatch, and when you hatch, I hope you guys know how to hatch. You can either pick a point inside of something. So if I pick this point, it'll select those exterior lines as the point. So if I do this, it's kind of funky because there's objects in the middle, so then it kind of tries to go around them. If I do the circle, it just do the inside of the circle. The other way to do it, so automatically wants to pick points, or you can select. So if I select this polyline, it'll put a hatch inside there. And that's what I want to do. So now I'm going to figure out the hatch. Right now it wants to do this hatch. Well, that's not the hatch I want. I want a hatch that's that way. And they have this hatch, but they don't have it turned. But I'm going to pick this hatch and I'm going to turn it myself here. Actually here, which is angle. I'm going to turn it 45 degrees. And there's the hatch, except the lines are so close that I can't really tell until I zoom way close that I have a hatch. And then you got to play with the scale until you get a 2 by 2 grid. I think it's 192. If I remember correctly. That seems about right. Let's see. So I'm going to hit enter and escape out of that. And my hatch is in there. So how do I find out it's 2 by 2? I'm going to measure, I don't know, from here to here. And sure enough, it's 2. The other way to do it, hatch there. I'm going to start it from the beginning. I'm going to put a hatch there. I'm going to select the object. And guess what? It puts a hatch, the last hatch I did. It remembers the last hatch I did. But let's just say it puts a hatch that you hadn't done before. Say it does that hatch, any hatch, at the scale of 1. And so it does the same thing with there. Hopefully, we copy the project from a project that was similar, and we can just match the properties of this hatch to the properties of the hatch, and boom, it's there. Now, here's the thing about the grid. These lines are so close that in real life that wouldn't happen. If you got something smaller than like 2 inches, you don't want a 2-inch line right there. So you got to slide. You don't want a 2-inch right there. So you got to, and look at over here. Well, that's fine. We need to slide the hatch down. And how you do that? Well, I'm going to draw a diagonal line like if we were dividing the room in half. Again, there. And then I'm going to click on I'm going to set the origin of the hatch. I don't know where it is right now. I'm going to set the origin of the hatch, or the center of the hatch, to the middle of that line. So I click on the hatch, and up here it says set origin to the middle of that. And guess what? It turns out the origin was in the middle of that line. I need to slide that hatch. It seems like from left to right, the hatch is right, but from top to bottom, it's not right. I need to slide it half a tile, 12 inches one way or the other, because if I slide it 24 inches, then I'm going to be in exactly the same place, because they're 24-inch squares. So I draw a line from the middle of the diagonal line, 12 inches down to there. So there's a line there I can't see. I'm going to change the center of this hatch to the end of this line. You with me? So I click on the hatch, set origin, and there's gonna be a line that ends right there. And then watch the hatch. See how the hatch slid down? So now I have my hatch the way I want it in the room, and I can put a light here, and I can put a light here if I wanted to. In reality, I'm gonna put a light right there because the office is so small, it doesn't need two lights. I'm gonna erase this one. Yep. And then I'm going to do the big one here real quick, just to clarify that whole business about sliding the hatch, right? It looks like we struggle with that a little bit. So I got my area defined. I'm going to put a hatch in there, and it's that crazy hatch. So like I said, fortunately, we have a hatch to match. Let's match this hatch with a swatch and the thatch. And there it is. So here's what's happening to this hatch. I got a tiny little bit of area on this side. It's 3 1/4 inch. It's gonna be so hard to cut that tile 3 1/4 inches on both sides. And look over here. I have an even worse condition. So let's find the center of that room. So I'll go from corner to corner. I'm gonna tell the hatch. I'm gonna click on the hatch. And I'm gonna say set origin. I'm gonna click on that, and I'm gonna select the midpoint of that line. And guess what? We've done it again. So the center of this hatch is in the middle of that line. So that's why it's fairly even. I got an inch over here, and I got an inch over here, and I got a 3 1/2 inches over here, 3 1/2 inches over here. That's very difficult to build. So I'm gonna have to slide the hatch. Remember, we go half increments. So if the distance from here is 24 and 24 inches, then I'm gonna have to slide the hatch down 12 down, and the same thing, and down or up, it doesn't matter, because it stays in this boundary we originally created. I'm gonna have to slide it 12 down and also 12 left or 12 right. I'm gonna make a reference line that starts in the center point of the room, and I'm gonna go 12 to the right or left, it doesn't matter, okay? So I'm gonna go 12, and I'm here now, and I'm gonna 12 up or down, your choice. So I'm going to move the center of this hatch to be at the end of this line. So I click on hatch, and I click on set origin, and I'm going to select this point right there. So now the hatch moves. Let's see what happens on the end. So now I have a decent sized tile that actually can be cut, right? On both the top and bottom, they're identical, and both left and right. When you look up at a ceiling, you want it to look uniform. You don't want one end to be 24 inches and then the other side would be 3 inches. You pretty much want to center the grid in the room. So now I'm happy with this. I'm happy with this grid. I'm going to erase that diagonal line, and I'm going to erase those two reference lines that I drew. The one, where are they? Oh, here we go. One going to the right and one going up 12 inches. I'm going to erase those, and there's my grid. So now I can put a light in. That guy gave us a kind of a general location of where to put the lights. So he wants a light here. The one with the F right there. And then there's another one right here with an F. One there and one there. We're going to do a better job of centering those If that one's going to be 1 foot from that side, then I'm going to put this one actually here, 1 foot from the side. Same thing, what I said about the grid, you want it nice and center, then we want the same thing with the lights. So if this light is a foot away from here, then this light should be a foot away from here, not 3 feet away. Okay, that's it. So then you can do the grid here. Actually, in reality, since we're only putting one light, we just put it in the center of the room and call it a day. Same with the bathroom. So you got lucky there. I did all the work for you. All right. If the office was bigger, then we put a grid in here, but that office is what? 56 square feet. It's a very tiny office. So that's it. That's how you do a grid.